Hello and welcome back to the Stationary Dev. Today we are going to be doing a quick currently inked fountain pens and inks for at least the beginning of November. I might do another one towards the end of November, just depends on how quickly I write through these pens. So as usual, we're going to be taking it in our, this is just a Taroko staple bound with the old Tomoe River paper. Let me get us a page to look at. So here we go. Let's see, should we do it on the back or on a new one? We'll do it on a new one. Because why not? And we'll take a look at our currently inked fountain pens. So like I mentioned probably before my last video, I don't keep a ton of pens inked at a time. Because I like to use all of my pens that I have inked. So I don't just ink them and then set them to the side and don't use them for a couple weeks or anything like that. I use everything that I ink. So the first one up is our Pilot Vanishing Point. I'll go ahead and put our title down here for our currently inked. And we'll put November. Although we might have another one in November. We'll just see. All right. I'll go ahead and zoom in so you can sort of see a little bit better. So the first pen that I have inked today is the trusty Pilot Vanishing Point. I almost always have this pen inked, so expect to see it often. Inside we have an 18 karat gold fine nib, which is a broad and wet fine, especially for Japanese pen, as you can see. And we'll do the ink inside. As you'll see, I've been trying to do some fall colors. So the ink I have in this one is Diamine, Oxblood, one of, if not my favorite, red. It's just a good dark red. And I can do a couple little things there so you can see the writing and a quick wetness test. There, Diamine, Oxblood, and we'll do our swatch of it real quick. I just have the little 30 ml Diamine bottles. I've probably used a third of this bottle. So we'll do a quick swatch. And I'm gonna try, whoops. I'm gonna try to not make a mess and almost tip over the bottle. Here we go. And it's just a great color. I actually prefer this, the Oxblood, to like Rider's Blood. I like this sort of red leading brown a lot better than the red leading pink or magenta. To me, it just, I don't know. I appreciate this color a lot better. All right. So we're gonna set that off to the side. Hopefully not make too big of a mess on my table. Put our ink away. And on to our next pen, and I'll go back and show these once they've dried. Next pen that I have inked today is my Pilot Custom 74 and the blue demonstrator. And I have the Con 70 converter in here. Make sure I can get a decent zoom here. So I have the Pilot Custom 74. And this is a 14 karat gold medium nib. This was my first gold nib fountain pen, and I still love it to this day, but it was before I sort of figured out that fines and extra fines were for me, so it is a medium nib. And the ink we have in here is a really great one. This is Akkerman SBRE Brown. Just a great brown, shades like crazy. And this will probably be off the chart, so I'm going to kind of go up so you can see that. Just shades like an absolute madman. Nice wet pen, nice wet nib, smooth, gorgeous nib and pen. And then we'll do our swatch. So the Akkerman inks come in these cool ink bottles here with the marble at the top to lock some ink in. So we're gonna do that. Lock some ink in the top there so we can pull a sample from Akkerman. They get sort of rich down, so it's gonna take some gusto. And we'll try to use this one without making too big of a mess. Nice and saturated. Move that off and do our swatch. So you can see already sort of the depth, the difference in color from that and that brown. Really, really solid brown, and it's up there for my top browns for sure. All right, put that bottle away and on to the next. So next up we have a Platinum President in the red. Beautiful classic pen, now being discontinued, so if you're interested in picking one up, I would do so as soon as possible while supplies last. We have the and I'll just say red. And this is an 18 karat gold platinum fine nib. The ink in this one go along with my fall colors is Sailor. Oh man. Jentle. Apricot. So a discontinued ink for a discontinued pen. I think it was fitting. It works out. Fairly wet, actually, for a platinum fine. Very bright ink, Apricot is. I kind of prefer darker colors and maybe like a darker or redder orange, like maybe a Roshizuku Fuyugaki. But it's a good seasonal one, and I've written a lot. I've written probably half of that converter done there. Let me find where I put my other Q-tip, cotton swab, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to get our discontinued ink. The Sailor Jentle ink comes in these little squat bottles, which a lot of people don't like because it's hard to get a pen into. And they usually have an inkwell in there, but I took all the inkwells out of my Sailor bottles just so I could fit bigger pens in there and sort of get it at an angle rather than having really shallow straight up and down. So there's the Jentle bottle for Apricot. Get that. Very bright color ink, but a pretty ink, I will say. We'll give it a swab. This is how I do swabs. I don't have a fancy like ruling pen or whatever they're called, or dip pen, or letter opener or anything like that. I just do it with a good old Q-tip and it works for me. All right, we're gonna put lid back on there, and then to our final pen, also a Platinum President. This one is in the black this time. I picked up 2 of these once I figured out they were getting discontinued and found a good deal on them. Picked up 2 of them, so this is my other one. And this one, make some room. Make sure we're zoomed all right. Is also a platinum. President. We're going to call it black, just so I differentiate between the two. But this one actually has 18 karat gold, and this one is their ultra extra fine nib. It's the first ultra extra fine nib that I've had or owned from Platinum. I tried it at the ultra extra fine in a 3776 at the Dallas Pin Show and liked it, how it felt, and I found a good price on this President with one, so it was fate. And then the ink we have is actually, I'll just abbreviate, but Rohrer and Klingner Kastanienbraun, which is a limited edition 2019 ink from them. It's a nice reddish brown. I think it translates to something like chestnut brown or something there. But really nice ink, and once again goes with my fall colors. And I found this nib to actually be very architect-y for a fine nib. It's like a really fine architect nib. And you can kind of probably see that on those cross hatches. It's a little, and even on the writing, it's a little wider left to right than it is up and down. You can see it on that P on President. There. All right. And this bottle comes in a lovely sort of brown, you can get it, like a brown sort of tube, limited edition. And then you get your standard Rohrer and Klingner bottle there. This one says maroon, so maybe that's part of a translation for it, but I think it translates more to chestnut brown. And our cotton swab. Get it down in there far enough, because this is a beautiful ink. I think browns are some of my favorite colors, so I think they're beautiful. That's all that matters. And there you go. You can see a good depth of reddish chestnutty brown there. Put that on tight. And there we go. So there is our currently inked for November. I think those are good fall colors for me. Maybe a lighter red would have done good as an addition, but that might be coming. You can see already we got a little bit of sheen actually on the Oxblood on Tomoe River paper, the old stock paper. There's our Diamine Oxblood and the Vanishing Point. It has some good shading too. I really like Oxblood. It's like a mainstay ink for me. Once I'm done with a 30 ml bottle, I'll more than likely get the bigger bottle. SBR Brown with its ridiculous shading. Look at that. Every letter has beautiful shading. And you can see the difference in color from left to right on that swab. Very wet, beautiful brown ink. It used to be really hard to get a hold of, but now I like Van Ness has it in stock. You can find it in stock now. It's a little more available now than it used to be. They only do it in batches. And then the Sailor Jentle Apricot, you can see it does have a little bit of shading. It goes from like a yellowy orange to a little bit of a darker, more saturated orange, but no real sheen or anything to it. There's a little bit of shininess, but I wouldn't call that sheen. Gets more red there. but just a really super bright ink. It was brighter than I expected, I'll say that. But also really wet, good Sailor ink, you know. It's hard to go wrong with Sailor. And then there's our Kastanienbraun and our Platinum Present UEF. So there's the difference between a fine and an ultra extra fine. It's not that big of a difference other than on the downstrokes. The ultra extra fine is definitely thinner on the downstrokes. And there's our Kastanienbraun that's not quite dry, but it doesn't really have any sheen or anything that I've noticed. Might be like a blacker sheen, but just a lovely brown winter ink. All right. And I've found it to be a very reliable ink. All right, so there we go. That's our currently inked for November. Like I said, depending on how quickly I write these out, like I'm about halfway done with this pen. I usually write my vanishing point out pretty quick. This one might take a while just because it's ultra extra fine, and then my custom 74 will take a while just because it holds a ton of ink in that Con 70 converter. I have reviews of all of these pens out now on my channel, so if you're interested in any of these pens, like the Platinum President, Custom 74, or the Private Vanishing Point, make sure to check out those videos. If you have any questions or comments on any of these inks or pens or anything else from me, please make sure to leave a comment down below. And if you liked this video and want to see more like it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Liking and subscribing is a free and easy way to support the channel and support fountain pen content on YouTube, and also let you know when I come out with new videos, which is every week. So it'll tell you when I drop a new video or have one scheduled to come out. So there we are, and until next time, see you later.